We're back with another video. In tonight's episode, I want to basically fully convert this car to a actual Dinan S1. It's not currently, it's completely factory with nothing done to it. This car is basically as factory as it can get. And then we come over here and we have the Silverstone car, or the titanium silver car, with Dinan goodies, Dinan S1 car stickered and badged. So I do apologize for any wind noise right now. It's quite windy out right now, but with the heat, it's actually pretty nice. So first things first, I want to grab this strut bar. I want to grab these intakes and these MAFs, and we're going to take off the front bumper. I'm going to grab these Euro headlights. They're OEM hella Euro headlights, and I will be taking off the carbon splitter. For those of you who are new or not up to date, I have a titanium silver M5 that is a Dinan S1. This car has legit like 300,000 miles on the car, and I bought this car for a good enough price, but I've unfortunately had so many of these silver cars that I wanted something different. Desperately wanted something blue, red, or white, and I now have an Avis blue car, but it has seen way better days, and this is the one that needs a bunch of work and is completely stock. So in basically last episode, we completely transformed this car interior with the Silverstone interior swap, full leather dash, everything. So this car got the interior that was originally in that car, and now we're going to continue converting it, basically putting this car fully back to stock so I can list this one for sale. No point in having both. I feel terrible basically doing this car like that, but it's just how it has to be sometimes. So we'll see if I regret it in the long term. I already kind of do. But other than that, let's continue putting this car back to stock. I think that I might have to grab this full upper core support just because of that badge. I don't want to replace it or rip it off and lose some of the adhesive or rip the sticker. So let me get to work. We got a lot ahead of us. Not sure how long this is going to take, but let's go ahead and get started. Just like that, this car no longer has a strut bar and it looks pretty bare. Have the full setup right here, so it is in pretty good condition. We will see if we can maybe polish that up, make it look a little bit better, but let's keep the progress going. They had this other cover on here, looks very ugly, but I don't know, coming to my car, or I mean they're both my cars, but coming to the Avis blue car, kind of hard to see, and it's very dirty. Maybe it will clean up, but I don't know. This car, the engine bay just doesn't look as clean. You can see where there's a lot of wear on the valve covers. To be honest, if I really wanted to, I wish I could just take, I don't know, basically half of the motor over here and throw it onto that car, because this car supposedly has been rebuilt, and you can see how shiny and silver it is all throughout. This engine bay is in much better condition, but unfortunately I'm going to be snatching whatever I can. I won't put anything broken on this car or on the Avis blue car, so I will only be basically trading off stuff that is not going to cause any damage or really hurt anything, just the aftermarket goodies. Okay, successfully the bumper is off. Only thing got in the way was the pork chops, trying to figure out what bolts were in there, what wasn't in there. On this side, it is a little damaged, very typical, but we'll see what we can do about this when we actually go and reinstall the bumper. But we're here for two reasons. We need these intakes, which I got to get these off through the lower mounts. I'm gonna grab these headlights, and then I'll debate whether or not I want to grab this core support and take it off as a complete assembly. Basically tonight, I kind of want to put this car as stock as I can. It's been taking basically a week so far, but of course that was with me working and taking some time off. So we'll grab the splitter off of here. Unfortunately, one thing that I did notice again is that we do have a crack in the bumper, and the splitter is holding it together. So we'll see what happens when we take it off. It is very unfortunate, but These bumpers, the OEM ones are actually a lot harder of a plastic or fiberglass, so these crack way easier. The replicas, of course, are not. So we'll figure it out. We'll see what we can do to save it. But good progress. It was a little bit of a challenge with those pork chops, but we're good. And let's keep it going. Strut bar is off, headlights are out, and intakes with the MAFs are off. Doing the interior swap, I would literally do a couple things and there would be like 3-4 hours just completely missing. I'm like 45 minutes in, if that, and basically everything is disassembled. One thing that I did realize is that this plaque is metal and the adhesive could possibly be reused. The only thing is that these stickers are in great condition, and then if you come over to mine, the stickers are completely faded and ripped off, and this is where the plaque is right here. So if I take the whole assembly, I have a perfect one for this car, and that's what we're trying to do, is make this car as good as it can be. Just unfortunately, that is an extreme amount of work. On a base E39, I think it's a little simpler, but M5, we got a little bit more going on, and a lot of the cars that we used to work on are missing half the things, and this is fully complete. At least the silver one is complete. The blue one is missing the under tray and the pork chops, so it won't be too difficult on that car, but this one will be more of a pain. Let me see what I got to do to get this airbox and intake setup back into this car. Let's see what the stock one takes, and we'll go from there, and that'll be my deciding factor. Just to be safe, I don't want to overdo it and pull everything off and then, you know, end up not wanting to do it. So let me take it step by step, and we'll see where it takes us. Run into our first slight dilemma with the air intakes. It runs a pipe that comes out straight through here, and you basically go all the way around this, avoiding secondary air pump and this lower headlight bracket. Obviously with the cold air intake, you're putting a much bigger intake in a different space. So I wasn't paying attention and wasn't really thinking about this, but the actual secondary air pump is completely different when it's actually mounted with the cold air intake. So this is the stock one that I just took off the Avis Blue car, and it mounts a little closer in, but it mounts like this. And obviously that goes directly in line with that, and this is what the cold air intake one is. So instead of remodifying another one, this one is actually cleaner. This one's more dirty. Neither one of them make any noise or have any actual problem, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take the one that's already been modified off, put it back in. The only thing that is gonna be a problem is this bracket. You can see they did a very bad job cutting the metal. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm gonna have to do the same. Hopefully I can do mine cleaner or figure out a way to get rid of that or get it out of the way. But that's gonna be the next step. At least I'll be able to put this car back to stock, the car that's gonna be in the street. So M5 in the garage can chill, well, this one is actually back incomplete. So I gotta take off this air pump, re-swap in that one, and then basically put this car back to stock. This will be the only thing that will hold me up. Other than that, it should be literally like a 10-15 minute job to take off stock air boxes and put it back in here. This is what happens when you leave me alone with two of the same cars. No, but we ended up taking that actual core support straight out, realizing that it was literally 4 bolts on the top plus 3 on each side of that, and then we just disconnect the little hood release, and the whole thing just comes straight off. End up cleaning that one off before we put this back in. Most likely the game plan will be just to get this car fully back to stock, make sure there's no problems with it, and then we can come back and we can fix up the blue one and make sure everything's clean, everything's perfect. So I'll clean up what needs to be cleaned up and I'll start reinstalling, but now I got to go ahead and start taking all the same pieces off of the Avis Blue to actually put back on here. And also might as well throw in the intake pieces right now while I have the most amount of space possible, and that would just make things more simpler for myself. And then we'll run the ducting after the core support is back on and we have the space again. But let me go back to the Avis Blue car and take off the same pieces. Just like that, we have the Avis blue front end and we have the titanium silver front end. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the release cable. Probably pull the intakes off first. Like we said, we're gonna do that first. That'll be just much easier. So let me go grab those once again, and then we'll put this back on. So far so smooth. It's like 3:30 a.m. already. So time was going by quick when we were doing simple jobs, but now we started moving to the bigger stuff. And yeah, now we're getting what we bargained for. So I gotta do this pretty much quick because I don't want it to get light out like it always has been. It was a wonderful thing that we did pull this off because there has been quite the mess inside of here. There's literally a cigarette in here. Inside these frame rails are disgusting. Everything in this car has been pretty nasty. One thing that was very shocking was looking at these bolts. This was a SoCal car. I don't know how far back. I do have the Carfax, but I did not even look at it. So I'm gonna have to check it out and see where this car originally was, but there hasn't been any signs of rust, and the clear coat failure is telltale sign that it's a West Coast car, but I mean, it can happen anywhere. So I guess we're gonna have to figure all this out and get this nest out of here. This car definitely needed good cleaning, so at least while we're in here, clean this up and make this much nicer. It is a shame. You can definitely start realizing why this car has aged like it has been. The valve cover, the plenum, the paint, all the nest everywhere. Overall, pretty rough of a car, but it does need the love, and this is the one we're choosing to save. One thing I do feel a lot better about is that we won't be killing this car. Well, it may not be as nice. This car will be going back to its stock purest form as it came from the factory. It's just gonna have very high miles, so it's not gonna be dead. This car will still be alive, and it will be stock. So hopefully someone can appreciate this car and someone can carry on the legacy of living the mileage and keeping this car as OEM as possible and keeping this as a collector. Even though the mileage, I guess that makes it a collector, just being such a high mileage. It's just something so unusual that it has become something that people want. First task of the night. Even though we just did everything like that, we actually have completed something. So to recap, strut bar is off, Dinan intakes, Dinan MAFs are out, Euro headlights are off, cross member is out, secondary air pump is out. Everything we took out has been replaced. We are back to stock, and honestly, I think the stock parts actually look better on Titan Silver than on Avis. I think that the actual amber headlights with Style 65s, it looks good on silver. I think blue is way better fit for the Euro headlight, aftermarket wheels, or something different. I just think silver looks so good stock. I think blue obviously looks amazing stock, but I feel like it's better off aftermarket, or at least for the parts that we had. So we are back to stock. Only thing sucks is that the sticker has peeled off. I'm not sure. I did have someone very helpfully say that maybe possibly heating up the strut tower from behind to pick these off, but they're already so creased and splitting. I'm very frightened to take that off, and then I don't think there's honestly enough space. I mean, it's just putting a heat gun in there. I'm sure it could get no problem, but I'm not sure what we're gonna do about that. That might be a last ditch effort, maybe possibly last thing we possibly do is take off that and the Dinan badge from the trunk. But we are fully stocked now. I'm just gonna take off this lip right here, make sure we are all good and set. Everything has actually gone back perfectly. We have the stock airbox is officially mounted, the MAFs are in, the headlight lined up perfectly. I put in the actual intake running pipe, lined up perfectly. Other headlight, same thing, everything lined up perfectly. I'm just gonna plug them in, take off that lip, and then we'll put the front bumper back. I don't know why I like this so much. Without the lip, BBSs 100% have to come off. I no longer like the BBSs without the lip. I don't know how, but that lip really made that whole look. But I actually really love this 100% stock front end. That's crazy to say because Avis Blue, I hate it. This car looks so sick from the front, from all angles. This car was set up so good. And now it's going back to fully stock, and I don't know why, but I actually genuinely really like this. Engine bay looks nice. Needs to dust it off, clean it up a little bit, but I like how simple and clean it looks. The front end looks so simple and clean. Bumper is mounted very well, nice and sturdy. Only thing we're having a problem with is there's a little sag right here, so I'm gonna see if I can line this up better. This is where the part was broken, kind of hidden by the lip. And one more thing hidden by the lip is, come under here. This pork chop is having a rough time. It's really not holding together very well. And same thing, it cracked right here on the under tray, and the kind of lip held it together. But I haven't put all the bolts in. I'll see what I can do to get this to line up the best and stay sturdy. But other than that, it's already like 4:30 in the morning. Same thing what happened last time. This car will have to be on the back burner. This car will be basically done and put back to stock. It really is done right now. I'm gonna start it, make sure there's no air leaks or anything weird, make sure there's no MAF codes, and make sure the headlights function properly, and this car should be good. Probably throw the BBSs onto the Avis, or put the Apexes on the Avis and throw the stock style 65s on this probably tomorrow. It's already super late, and I want to clean up, make sure everything's organized and at least good, so I know how to put it back together and I don't forget anything. But yeah, actually we made a lot of progress tonight. We have functioning headlights on both sides. Corner lights are working. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and start the car to make sure that we don't have any weird issues with the MAFs or with the air boxes. Everything should be 100%. There's only one actual way we could get an air leak, would be right here. And those are super easy to tighten down and make sure they're lined up. So there should be 100% no issues. The only thing I am concerned about is this car was, I think, shark tuned, and I don't know if you 100% need a tune for the Dinan MAFs, so I might have to flash this car back to a base map. That's the only thing that I'm thinking of, but I'm gonna go ahead and start it right now and see how it functions and see if we need to look into that or if the car can stay as is. I apologize for the noise, but I wanted to test fit the Apex on the F80. 18s are not the move whatsoever. It is as bright as could be outside, of course, with my luck. As soon as we were done with the M5, I closed the hood and the car battery had completely died once again. I still didn't get a battery for it, but the battery completely died, and I went to go and pop the hood and the hood did not pop. So I had a fight with it. We did move the latches and misalign a lot of stuff, so it does need to be played with. I was just gonna move it into the street and we could play with it tomorrow, or later today I should say. But I literally struggled, I don't know why, taking out the grill and using a screwdriver, or I don't know, probably 20 different things I tried to use to actually push the latch. I've done it 1,000 times. I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew exactly where it was. It still would not open no matter what I did. So I just took the handle off, took the cord out of the handle and pulled it with pliers. It popped right up. But it took me the longest to figure it out. So this is where we're gonna end off today's episode. I appreciate everyone who watched. I do apologize for the noise. It's 7 a.m. basically, and everyone is doing their own thing. So I apologize for that. We'll get back to you in another video. We're gonna have a lot of work to do. So thank you for everyone who watched. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll get back to you ASAP. Later, guys.